from the fact that you spent time in the past, like you said, in this cultural revolution, suppressing freedom of speech, and now you're over on the right. So you know their thought patterns, their tactics, not they, but those tactics.
Yeah, I do. And that's why they hate me so much. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I can't, in all honesty, look back on it and wish I hadn't done it, because it gave me a depth of education about the world that I wouldn't otherwise have. And I have to say, anybody who's never used Marxist categories and has never examined a society in a Marxist fashion probably will never properly understand the nature of power in politics. And most of the people I've known who've been most effective in politics have had at least a brush with it. So I don't regret it from that point of view. And fortunately, I got out of it before I'd done any serious harm to anybody politically. Though generally I was quite a badly behaved person at that time. So it's been useful to me. I think if people would only listen to me a bit more, it could be quite useful to society as well. But one of the problems with understanding things better than most people is you can't actually explain it to them, because they haven't had your experiences, they haven't done your traveling, they haven't lived where you've lived or seen what you've seen. They don't know what left-wing people are like in private. And so they won't believe you. So it's like being the guy in Invasion of the Body Snatchers trying to say, look, actually, no, this is really bad. And they're saying, no, don't worry about it.
You know, we've been talking a lot about British politics and policy, but when you look at America, I mean, it's almost kind of like the 10X version of this. At least that's what I see, where the left is no longer liberal. They've gone so far, it seems, to where Antifa is sometimes...
This is a fascinating thing about the left. I mean, you say what you like, for instance, about the Guardian, the principal British left liberal newspaper. Until about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, it could be relied upon, if there was an issue of free speech and civil liberties, to be on the right side. Whatever else you had against it, you know that if there was somebody who was being messed around by the courts in some unjust fashion, or if there was some lie being told by the government, the Guardian would be on the right side there. And now, not so. And in general, the left have been very much on the side of authority and the establishment here. I think that this is because the left have become the establishment, that their opposition to these things really arose from them being excluded and outsiders, rather than because of a principled desire to stand up for freedom. And it's a great shame. I miss the old Guardian a lot, and I look at it now and I think, well, what happened to you? You were so important and now you're not there. And it reminds me also of a very clever statement made by a man called Richard Neville, who set up, he was an Australian, came to England, he set up a magazine called Oz, which was a troublemaking, radical, often quite obscene magazine. And not my political ally, but he was certainly very bright. And he said back in the 1960s, there is an inch of difference in this country between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, but it is in that inch that we all live. But since then, that inch has closed. There is no inch. Parliament is no longer adversarial. The two parties don't actually genuinely fight each other over anything. And therefore, the inch in which we lived is gone. It's the adversarial nature of, particularly of British democracy, that was always so important, that the parties really were genuinely rivals. And once they ceased to be and became almost identical in politics, then the liberty of the rest of us just gone.
Wow. And when you see the left in America, where it seems like the alternative now is to destroy or cancel, as we've seen, where does that go from here? And will Britain trend more towards that way in the next 5 years?
I have no idea. I can't. I mean, the two countries are, the other thing you learn when you live in the USA is the two countries are hugely different. And particularly the United States, the left in the United States has a wholly different character, as indeed do conservatives. And the conservative tradition in America is, for instance, it's neither Anglican nor monarchist. So it tends actually much more, in my view, to be liberal in economics, for instance, and generally to be different. So it's very hard to apply American patterns to Britain or British patterns to America, and I try not to do it.